The polls are suggesting a huge shift in the electorate, but are they actually right? What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American, back again with a new video. Today, it is time to talk about the 2024 presidential election because everyone, the polls are currently suggesting that the 2024 election will have a large realignment. And not just any realignment, we could potentially be seeing one of the largest realignments in American history. Yeah, bigger than 2020, bigger than 2016. Really, it might be the biggest realignment in American history. Which is crazy to think, but when you dig into the polling, yeah, that's what they're showing as of now. Now, before we continue with today's video, I hope you enjoy these type of videos. If you do, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Again, folks, all support is greatly appreciated, and yeah. Now, I have made many videos and streams on the same subject, and I have always been in the camp of, well, we are in the middle of a great realignment in American politics. We are seeing something that we have never seen before. But even when I made those videos and streams, I never expected what the polls are currently suggesting. We're not talking about, well, just a small shift here and there with groups that are going to continue to accelerate for the next 10 to 15 years. No. The trends are accelerating this year. But let us get into it. Something weird is happening beneath the overall stability of the early 2024 polling, and it's either a sign of a massive electoral realignment or that the polls are wrong once again. Polls show former President Donald Trump is ascendant with the youngest bloc of the electorate, even leading President Joe Biden in some surveys, as less engaged young voters spurn Biden. You heard that right. Young voters, which have been Democrat voters for decades. According to the current state of polling, Trump is either tied with Biden or just slightly down, or hell, some polls have him up against Biden. Meanwhile, Biden is stronger with seniors than he was 4 years ago, even as personal image is significantly diminished since he was elected last time. Yeah, this is what the polls currently indicate, that Trump is doing much better with the young vote, but at the same time, Biden is doing much better with seniors. Which is crazy to think because you would think, well, seniors are more conservative and they're going to vote for Republicans no matter what. But this is the realignment I have been talking about for a while. There is something happening with the senior voting bloc in this country, and the same thing with Zoomers. That would be a generational shift. For decades, Democratic presidential candidates have overwhelmingly won young voters, and Republicans have done the same with the other end of the electorate. Poll after poll is showing that's flipped this year. If these changes are real, it would have profound effects on the coalitions both campaigns are building for November. No Republican has won young voters since George H.W. Bush's landslide in 1988, and no Democrat has carried the senior vote since Al Gore hammered Bush's son, George W. Bush, on Social Security in 2000. So in other words, this has been the coalition for both parties for decades. Republicans did better with seniors, while Democrats did much better with young voters. But for whatever reason, that's changed the cycle. And I actually have a theory for what's happening here. I don't think that Biden's going to outright lose the young voter. Trump's going to lose the senior vote. Like this article says, there could be a polling miss with these demographics because these are smaller sample sizes. You know, you could get some more wonky results. But this is not just one poll showing Republicans doing much worse with seniors but doing much better with young voters. It's nearly every single poll. Even the ones that have Biden beating Trump by like 5 points, they still have Trump doing worse with seniors but better with young voters. And I actually think I know why. The senior vote of today is not the same as it was 20, 30 years ago. Hell, let alone 4 years ago. Because guess what? Seniors are old. And guess what happens when you get old? You have a much higher chance of dying. That's a fact. The older you get, higher chance of you dying. And the seniors of the early 2000s, of the 1980s, the 1990s, they're gone. They're most of them are dead. There's barely anyone that was a senior then still alive. And those same seniors that were around 30, 40 years ago, that are not here now, were replaced by boomers. You know, the generation everyone makes fun of, for good reason. The generation you can argue screwed everything up for America. Remember, these are the same people that were hippies in the 60s and 70s. Gee, I wonder why they're more liberal. They're the ones back then that protested the Vietnam War. They refused to serve when they got drafted. Now, you could argue if that was moral or not, but the hippie movement was a disaster. And these same hippies are now the senior vote. And that's, in my opinion, one of the biggest reasons why this realignment is happening, with the senior vote at least. These are not the same seniors. You cannot compare the senior vote from 1988 to 2024. You just can't. Or something's wrong in the polls, and the mirage of the age inversion is really a warning sign of a structural problem in the 2024 election polling. And like I said, this is a possibility. I agree with that. There could be a big polling miss on the age front because, hey, these groups have much smaller sample sizes. But every poll is showing the same thing. This isn't just every other poll showing a big shift towards Trump with young voters and a big shift for Biden with old voters. It's nearly every one of them. Not a fluke here or there. No. It's a consistent trend. That would be a signal that the polls are once again struggling to measure the presidential race accurately after underestimating Trump in the previous two elections. Maybe the young voter numbers are wrong and the polls are understating Biden. Or maybe the older vote numbers are wrong and Trump is even stronger than he appears, or both. Which again, that is a possibility. I agree with that. There could be a big miss because of smaller sample sizes. But we didn't have this problem back in 2016 and 2020. Yeah, they may have understated Trump a little bit here and there, but you didn't have a 50-point miss with seniors or a 40-point miss with young voters. It was like 5 to 6 with some of those age demographics, but not the amount needed to explain, well, the polls are just wrong here. Seems like we know how to poll white middle-aged people really well, said John Della Volpe, the director of polling for the Harvard Kennedy School Institute of Politics and expert of polling young voters. But if they're younger, older, black, Hispanic, there seems to be no consensus about what's the best practice these days. Is there a fundamental realignment underway of the American electorate, a systematic error in polling, a little bit of both? The implications are enormous, but so much could change before then, which again, I agree with. This is only, April. We're not in frickin' November. Things could theoretically change, but do you really think you're gonna see that type of shift in 6-7 months? I mean, I just don't think that's possible. If we would have saw this, a year ago and then it started to shift for Biden, fine. But we're in April. We know who the nominees are for both parties, yet we still have many polls showing the same thing. Just last week, a new NPR poll showed Trump 2 points ahead of Biden among millennial and Gen Z voters, while Biden led overall among voters 45 years and older, including those in the silent and greatest generations. I wouldn't go that far. It's the Marist poll that everyone mocked. I want to use this as the example, but this is what Politico is using as their proof that, well, there is a realignment potentially happening. Or at least that's what the polls are showing. The Marist poll, I would say, throw out, the silent and greatest generations. You're not going to see them vote Democrat in the modern era. That's just not going to happen. Again, it could be because of sample size and all of that, but even the same poll that I would say is very questionable, it had Trump leading Biden among young voters, but slightly down with the old vote. A new Fox News poll last month showed Trump leading Biden among voters under 30 by a whopping 18 points in a head-to-head matchup, and by 21 points with independent and third-party candidates included. Now, just like the Marist poll, I do have some questions about this gap between Biden and Trump with young voters. I mean, an 18-point lead for Trump. Is it possible? I mean, I guess in a bizarre world it is, but I think this is more so, alright, there's a bunch of undecideds in this poll. It's like the mayor's poll, there's some questions here and there with the age demographics, but again, they're showing Trump is doing a lot better with young voters, but at the same time, doing much worse with senior voters. This has never happened in these same polls back in 2020. They showed Trump doing bad with seniors, but way worse with young voters. Here, it's the opposite. They have Trump actually doing better with the young vote than the senior vote. Not every poll shows a perfect age inversion. Biden's just at 50% among voters under 30 in the Wall Street Journal's national and swing state polling. While that's still about 10 points ahead of Trump, it's a significant decline compared to the 2020 election, and roughly equal to his vote share among seniors, 48%. And again, it proves the point that not every poll is showing Trump winning the young vote, or hell, even within 10 points. But compared to 2020, that's like a 20-point shift. In that same poll, Biden's just doing slightly better with the young vote than the senior vote. Either way, it doesn't really matter which poll you look at, even the ones that have Biden win the young vote, like the Wall Street Journal poll, look at the Fox News poll, which is, again, out there, same thing with the mayor's poll. They show all the same trends. Trump is surging with young voters, but Biden is surging with older voters. That's what's happening. Every poll is showing it. This isn't like 2020 or 2016 where, no poll had this. Yes, they understated Trump with senior voters, but they didn't have him at like 45% with the young voters. They never had him anywhere close to that. And that's why I believe that the trends we're seeing in the polls as of now are somewhat legitimate. Every poll is showing the same type of trend. Trump doing better with young voters, but much worse with seniors. And these same polls back in 2020, they never had Trump pulling this high with the young vote. Yeah, they may have overstated him here or there, but it was never a 30-point swing like we're seeing right now. It was like a 5 to 6 point swing, maybe 7. But a polling miss of that size is not going to explain this shift we're seeing. Because we're seeing a 20, 30, hell, even 40-point shift in some polls with the young vote. If it's a 10-point miss, that's still like a 20 to 30-point shift. That's not just, a fluke. That's not just a margin of error. No, that's a trend. That is a realignment happening in real time. And there's a good chance it does happen. Unless something crazy happens, the polls are off by 50 points. I guess it's possible, but is that going to happen? I highly doubt it. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy this video, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Godspeed to all of you.